Hey, it's Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and today we're going back to Vial-less. I want to try out Vial-less because we need to interact with energy on turn 1. Hopefully we don't have to stick with Vial-less for too long, and then they ban a bunch of stuff from the energy deck, but I don't know if they're going to ban enough. So what's the point of Vial-less? Well, here's the deal. If you're on the draw versus energy, they go turn 1 Guide of Souls, and you have Ether Vial and Dismember in your hand. What is the correct play? Well, probably still Ether Vial, but you're going to take a ton of damage because next turn they'll go like Amped Raptor into a creature, attack you with the Guide of Souls. They gained life. They buff up their Guide of Souls, hit you for 3 damage, and then you're going to dismember it afterwards. And like it feels like it's too late, and you're just so far behind. So the idea of Vial-less is that you interact immediately. Turn 1. We're going to play Dismember. They play that Guide of Souls, we can Dismember. We can Unable to Scream, or we're going to at least make some attempt to put a Chump Blocker in play with the Rishadan Dockhand. What else do I want to say about this deck? I want to be able to interact as much as I can for free with Subtlety or Force of Negation. Of course, we're still going to be playing with Harbinger of the Seas. Also, I don't know how key Tishanda's Tidebinder is going to be in the energy matchup. It does interact in a way that I do like, but also there is the subtlety trick of playing subtlety, pitching a card that maybe you don't need anymore, and then with the you basically put their creature back into their deck. But then with the evoke trigger on the stack, you can Tishanda's Tidebinder, and that helps add a bunch to the board while setting the opponent back by as much as possible. I don't know if this deck is the perfect 75, but I mean, this is what I'm going to go with for now. Like some Sink into Stupors could be that Electro, that other thing, that 1/4 with Flash, because that's pretty good versus energy, to be honest. But it's not very good versus everything else. Sink into Stupor is just really good versus literally every other deck. That damn 1/4 is only good versus energy. But energy is it's 30% of the metagame. It's 30% of the metagame. What else am I excited to playtest right here? Consigned to Memory. This is literally a 4X in every blue deck. Every single blue deck plays 4X of these things. And while we don't super hardcore need to play Consigned to Memory, if I'm not playing with Vial, let's try it out. It can counter Charbelcher. It's basically like a hard counter to Charbelcher, because they have to, when you replicate it, they gotta like counter every version of your replicate. So it can counter Charbelcher. It's pretty good versus all Eldrazi decks. There's now a new Brood Scale deck that's coming up, Brood Scale combo, so that's gonna help over there. So I'm curious to see how Consigned to Memory is gonna work out. And don't know if this is mandatory. I'm not in love with Graveyard Hate, but Ghost Vacuum, the 1-mana artifact, you can tap and exile target card from a graveyard, any card. So Relic of Progenitus, you can just target the opponent. They can exile what they want. No, you are the one exiling their stuff, so you get to snipe off everything. And then for 6 mana, you get to put all their creatures in play as 1/1 spirits. All the cards that you exiled. Anyway, okay, what else to say about this deck list? And we have some Glasspool Mimics. Some people might ask, why aren't you playing with Lorien Revealed? Because I just think it is strictly worse than Glasspool Mimic. Lorien Revealed, you're not casting it very often. I don't know, like 5-10% of the time. Glasspool Mimic, you're casting 95% of the time. All right, it's like night and day different. All right, with that, let's get into our league. We won the die roll. It's not a 1-lander because of the Glasspool Mimic, so we're going to keep this. I can go turn 1 Glasspool, turn 2 Tideshaper, and then hopefully if we draw a 3rd land, we can go Harbinger of the Seas. And also hopefully our opponent is weak to Harbinger of the Seas. If they're not, we're screwed. Absolutely screwed. Ooh, an island. You're going to activate my Tideshaper, are you? Well, okay. So these cards are not going to be very good here. Going to be very, very poor. I guess we start off going Tideshaper into Lord puts the most damage out, but also it's not the most mana efficient. Man, I don't know what to do. I also can't be sure what our opponent's on, so maybe I want to hold the Tideshaper back. Like, let's say it's Murktide and they play a black source, and I want to Tideshaper the black source. Okay, it's the combo deck. We draw a Cavern of Souls. Is that going to help us at all? Is it going to help them? Do they need color mana for anything? I think yes, for some cards. How else does it... They can put their lands into play untapped. They don't take damage if I play Harbinger of the Seas. Ugh, this is awful. This is awful. Okay, they have a lot of counter magic, though. Do I even want to play Harbinger? Because, like, if I do, if I play the Harbinger, then it shuts off my Cavernous Souls, which turns their counter spell. They have a lot of counter magic in their deck. They have, like, a lot of counter magic. Maybe we go Tide Shaper. This is the most awkward hand of all time. Most awkward hand of all time. I'm glad they played an island. I still maybe I don't know what they're on because I don't know if they play islands, or they might have a few basic islands in the deck. Ugh. So silly. Okay, we're gonna do it this way so that if I draw a land, then I can play Tide Shaper and have Force Negation up at the same time. Without having to actually pitch anything. Okay, so maybe they're not on the combo deck. What was that all about? Just I play Harbinger this season and they concede. Like I want to say they're on the combo deck. Does this combo deck? Just to quickly look. And what I mean by the combo deck, I mean the Charbelcher deck. The Charbelcher deck is the new hotness in Modern. It blows away the... No, they can't have an island. So what is this deck? Because that doesn't work. I wonder how many people in the comment sections reminded me. Nikachu, the Charbelcher can't run an island. That's a Nombo. You're right. So what the hell is this? It's got to be some sort of... You know, Gemstone Mine isn't seen in a whole lot of stuff except combo decks. I'm going to put the trust that this is a combo deck somehow. Let's bring in combo cards. They conceded to Harbinger of the Seas, though. Oh, God. I didn't see much. I'm going to assume these are not very good. They conceded to Harbinger of the Seas. Do I leave it in, chat? Chat, is this real? Okay, let's not change too much. Like, definitely, there's a strong possibility I'm supposed to side out Harbinger of the Seas, but whatever. They conceded Harbinger of the Seas, so I'm going to keep it in. Yeah, this can't be Charbelcher. Why did I get confused? But what is this deck? That I have no idea. Okay, this is now a one-lander. Sink into Stupor is our only land, so we're going to mulligan. Not a one-lander, but also doesn't really do much. We need another land to cast our Lord of Atlantis. But if we cast Lord of Atlantis, we can then curve into Harbinger and Tashanis Tiebrenner and Subtlety. Okay, I'm going to keep, but we do need a little bit of help. We need one more blue source. But we are a much heavier land deck. Okay, hold on. Botanical Sign. Is this Neoform? Is this Neoform? Well, we have Subtlety. So that's some good news. Ooh, it's Neobrand. It has to be Neoform. Like Neobrand. Which is pretty good, because if they go for the Allosaurus Rider, we can Subtlety twice. There we go! Okay, so our hand is actually quite good. So do we keep... I guess we keep the Harbinger now. Guess I'll dump a Lord of Atlantis. There's no telling I can actually cast this card yet. Okay, we won the game. Yes! And I guess it explains why they conceded to Harbinger of the Seas, because they need the green mana for their Neoform. Well, it just didn't work out for them. That was great. It's completely forgot that Charbelcher decks can't run the island, but it all worked out for me anyway. All right, anyway, that was round 1. Let's move on to round 2. I'm so sorry. This is round 3. I forgot to click record for round 2. Long story short, I lost to an affinity deck. Game 1, I flooded out. Game 2, I got stuck on 2 lands when I needed to play a Harbinger of the Seas on turn 3 to deal with like 2 Urza Sagas that were attacking me or threatening to create a bunch of constructs. So I couldn't do it. I never hit my 3rd land drop and I lost. So we're actually here in round 3. We lost the die roll. I have something to do on turn 1, which I think is pretty critical, and we do have enough mana to play our 3-drop, so let's just hope that we draw either another 1-drop or a 2-drop somewhere around somewhere. Okay, we're up against Energy, which looks fine and dandy to me. Well, not really. I mean, this is like the deck I don't want to play against, I suppose. But we have to do it anyway. We have no choice. You gotta face Energy head on. Guide of Souls, sure. Ooh, they're playing. Oh, I don't know if they're playing around, but I was about to say they're playing around. Spell Snare? Is that it? Spell Snare? I don't remember what cards are called anymore. Okay, let's get a Lord of Atlantis in play, and then followed up with probably Svaelun. Not 100% sure Svaelun, but probably Svaelun. Svaelun can soak up a lot of damage. Can like withstand, for example, a Flage. I would say like the Galvanic, usually another Guide of Souls. This is very rude. It's too many Guide of Souls. Too many. Another Elegant Parlor. I think I'm going to just attack with my Lord of Atlantis, honestly. Hoi. If you want to trade one of these Guide of Souls with my Lord of Atlantis, please. By all means. See? They didn't want to do it. They're cowards. I'm going to get this Svaelun out. And hopefully they don't have Galvanic Iteration. Oh. Oh, they have Lightning Bolt. That's fine. So we got in a good clean. We got good clean 2 damage. Flooded Strand. Oh yeah, they have Flooded Strand. To get a Plains. Yeah, you gotta be afraid. You could have been wiped out by what's it called? It could have been a wipeout if I played Harbinger of the Seas there. So they had to have top decked that. No, maybe they didn't top deck that Flooded Strand because they played the Elegant Parlor. They were just trying to figure out how to curve out into their cards. I do not know what I want to do here between Tishana's Tiebinder and Lord of Atlantis, so let's just attack with the Svaelun first. We got an Unable to Scream. That's nice. Okay, so we'll play our Counter Souls on Merfolk. Let's Unable to Scream one of these things. No screaming for you. And then we hold up our Tishana's Tiebinder. A lot of ETBs from this deck. Tons. Goblin Bombardment. Okay. Can't do anything about it. I think I'm just going to hold up this Svaelun. This Svaelun for as long as I can. And the Tishana's Tiebinder. Well, now that I just drew this land, we can play this. Merfolk. We can play Lord of Atlantis. Because now I have Tishana's Tiebinder up anyway. Let's get in for an extra point of damage. Hopefully it was worth it. Here comes the chump. Here comes the chump blocks. Ooh, going after my face. Interesting. You could have went after my Lord of Atlantis. You could kill it. Actually, they couldn't because I would Tishana's Tiebinder one of the triggers, but you know what I mean. Ooh, Flage. Okay, so what is Flage going to go after first? Oh, do you know what's interesting synergy? They can sack the Flage in response to the evoke cost. Okay, so this is going to resolve the ward. We are going to we'll counter this. And how much are we attacking for? A lot. Hopefully we just draw something good. They gain a life. They're going to sack this thing. Probably at me. So we can attack for a total of 10 damage. Put them down to 4. They get Flage back. Kills Lord of Atlantis, probably. Oh! You're dead. You're just dead. You needed the chump blocker. You forgot about my Mutavault. Oh, it's only attacking for 3. Okay, you go to 1 then. Well, we have a lot of draws that would help us here. Well, that's not one of them. We are still in pretty good shape, though. So you Flage, target Lord. I still can get in for 2. No, you gain a lot of life. This is complicated now. And that was a good draw. It's very complicated. It was a very good draw. This feels very unlucky. But this is energy, I guess. Okay, now what do we need? Oh no. Okay, so I'm gonna hit for 3. I need an immediate answer to Flage. I needed like 1 random creature last turn. Well, maybe not that 1 random creature. That creature is a little poor. Pass. Yeah, it looks like we lost. The more conservative line I could have taken was Flage is played, it resolves, and then when it comes back, I could Tishana's Tidebinder it. But I figured like the odds were in my favor. I figured I had well, first off, I thought I had lethal if they attacked with their Guide of Souls, but actually I was just putting them down to 1 life, not 0. But then second off, like I thought I was just in a better position to keep all my stuff on the battlefield anyway, because if I have a Lord, then any like Island Walker would help me. No, that wouldn't help me win. But if I draw Harbinger of the Seas, they can't play the Flage. Anyway, this didn't work out. So we have to. Oh, they're flying with the Flage. Yeah, that works. Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, energy. Okay, what do we want? More 1-drops for sure. That's the whole point of this deck. Do I want Flare of Denial over Subtlety? Maybe. Okay, what do I not want? I don't actually like Tide Shaper in this matchup. Like, if I'm going on the Mana Screw plan, I like it, but otherwise I don't. Is there anything that I critically don't like? I don't like the Lords. Never did. Lords are generally just poor. Consigned to Memory is like playable, but not good. Sphaloon is good. I like Sphaloon. Sphaloon's awesome. Sphaloon is a cool cucumber. Let's take out 1 Tide Shaper. Yeah, that's it. Is that it? Or do I take out all the Tide Shaper? Because Tide Shaper is basically a 2-drop in this matchup. It's never a 1-drop. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. I sort of want Flare of Denial, but I don't really want to take anything out. Not very interactive, if you ask me. I think I'm going to mulligan this. And the upside was very poor. This hand has a lot of upside. I'll keep this, and we'll dump maybe a Harbinger of the Seas. Maybe a Tishana's Tidebinder. Okay, we'll get rid of 1 Tishana's Tidebinder. And we're going to rely on these Harbinger of the Seas to carry us. Carry us! Harbinger of the Seas, carry us. I'll go Sink into Stupor turn 1, and then hopefully dismember 2 things in this game. Man, I can't believe we lost that game. I felt like we had everything. Somehow we lost it. Well, that's annoying. I sort of feel like I want to play this Tide Shaper, but I can't. Okay, we'll just pass. That's going to go get a mountain. More plains. Plains it is. More plains in hand than mountains. Johnny. Well, let's start by killing off this Guide of Souls. And then we'll kill off a Johnny. Putting us down to a very poor, low 12 life. Land? Okay, we got our land. I'm happy for that. And then on the following turn we can go Tide Shaper on this plains, and hopefully that's GG. Still have to deal with this Cat Warrior though. Might have to deal with several Cat Warriors. I got Gigantha, that's a good sign. Always a good sign. Yeah, they're not on blocking duty. They're on aggressive duty. Alright, let's kicker this plains. Ha, sided you out, Tide Shapers. Little I know, you're worth it all along. The classic way that I beat this deck. Pure mana screw. Still works. Ooh, Sphaloon. That works too. We still need to win the game though. Okay, so let's start by bouncing the Cat Warrior. Attack for what, 7? Get a Cavern, which is good. I can play the Tide Shaper. And we have lethal for next turn. Do I want to change anything? Definitely don't want Flare Denial on the draw. No, I think that's just going to be it. We'll just submit this. The Lords are technically even worse on the draw, but what are you going to do? How does this hand do anything? I have... My curve doesn't start till turn 3. I think that's a little too slow. Like, they'll go 1 drop, I'll play, like, Glass, but, like, I can't really... I don't think I can keep this hand. It's just a little too clunky. This hand looks good. Get rid of... Sort of want to keep the Force Negation. We sort of have our combo, like, last turn. Our Harbinger of the Seas Tide Shaper combo. Okay, I'll get rid of the Force Negation anyway, because we need all the other cards. We can go turn 1, Unable to Scream. Turn 2, Unable to Scream their next card. Yep, God of Souls. Although they can have responses here because they can go Static Prison on the Unable to Scream, so they have some interaction to Unable to Scream. But that's sort of okay. Like if we're spending we're spending 1 mana and they're spending 1 mana, it's even. It would be bad if we're spending 2 or 3 mana and they Static Prison those things. That's bad. Ragavan. Holding up removal, huh? Holding up removal, huh? Unable to Scream that too. You get nothing. No screaming around here. Okay, they're holding up removal though. Definitely. They're getting ready. They're just like, I can't lose to this Harbinger of the Seas again. It can't happen. Otawara. Well, let's just play creatures, I guess. Let's draw out that removal. Gotta snuff it out. They're vulnerable, they know it. Okay, there goes the Galvanic Discharge. Okay, Oof, that's a good land. They can go get the plains or the mountain. And yeah, it looks like they were playing heavily around Harbinger of the Seas. They're gonna get 2 counters. They're gonna get their aggro on. Well, we just have to run the Harbinger of the Seas out. Ooh, that's interesting. Well, okay, we have no lines. We have to play Harbinger here. I assume they have another red removal spell. Otherwise, I don't think they would have killed the Lord. And we'll hold up this Dismember for maybe Guide of Souls? Maybe? Amped Raptor. Yeah, we're going to hit the Guide. I think we're going to hit the Guide of Souls. And then hope Amped Raptor doesn't do anything. So they don't gain life. Get a little bit more energy. Can't cast the One Ring. That's lucky. They're going to attack for 2. Then after we play Tide Shaper, they can't cast anything. But I do need to draw something. Okay, this is where we need to draw Sveilun, Subtlety. We need something. Something a little bit more than what we got right now. What sucks is I have to throw in Otawara. So we have 3 turns. They have they can attack with these Amped Raptors and Cat Warriors. The Cat Warrior they can definitely attack with at will. They get Gigantha. Subtlety is a great one, because that can surprise block the Amped Raptor. So let's start attacking ourselves. There's no good blocks here. One nice thing about Vial-less is that you're more likely to hit your 4th land drop to play things like Subtlety. So you're not 2-for-1ing yourself as much. You can just flash this thing in and surprise our opponents. Maybe I'm wrong to side out a Tide Shaper. This Tide Shaper might end up helping us win both these games. Only the Cat Warrior. Interesting they don't attack with the Amped Raptor. I find that very interesting. So what can this do? It will deal... Create a 2/1. When you do, if you control a red permanent other than a Johnny, it deals damage equal to the number of whatevers. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I guess the Amped Raptor is on blocking duty now. Oh, that sucks. Okay, 1 ring is played. Who knows? Maybe the 1 ring's gonna help us. Deal damage to our opponent to death. Okay, I want to be mana efficient, so I'm just going to play this Subtlety. Because I want to probably play whatever I top deck. That's a great top deck. That's what I'm talking about. You have your 1 ring, I got my 1 ring. Okay, so basically the 1 ring's only purpose is to look for basic lands. Which there are 3 plains in the deck. They're looking for them plains. No plains, no bueno. But they can also look for 1 rings. But honestly, I still can't block this Cat Warrior. I need to find... Oh, I could try to find a bounce spell for a Johnny or something. So what would you do? Yeah, you'd kill the Harbinger. Okay, so Sveilun needs to find some sort of answer here. Another 1 ring, that's fine. I can still attack with our Sveilun to draw cards. Like double the cards a turn. Okay, sync is great. Tishana's Tidebinder is just as good. Maybe better. So what can I do, actually? I could actually block the Cat Warrior. What do I want to do here? So I don't have to deal with this Johnny right now. I think I'm going to let them draw 2 more cards. And then, they played a land already for the turn. I think we're going to block Cat Warrior, bounce a Johnny, and then we'll hold up Tishana's Tidebinder for the future. Okay, this puts one less thing on the battlefield. This also lets me be a little bit more free with my attacks. And so if they play a One Ring here, then next turn I can Tishana's Tidebinder it. My opponent's like so lucky. I have my own One Ring in play. My opponent says like so lucky. You're literally playing the Boros energy deck. What do you want? I feel like your deck is lucky. Oh, my opponent asked, why are you writing in purple? I have a god account. Okay, so what do I have to do here? I gotta leave something for Amped Raptor still. So we'll attack with the Sphaloon. My opponent asked me, doesn't the god account make you stronger? Doesn't feel like it. I still get mana screwed. Or maybe do we get more aggressive here? No, I can't. Can't afford to yet. Cavern of Souls. So you're going to take 2 life, and then when they go to draw some more cards, that's when we'll Tishana's Tidebinder it. Well, I have to say, like, this, if we win, the cards helped. I mean, Unable to Scream, those were like 2 extra removal spells we usually don't have access to. Opponent's like, God draw every turn. MTG boring as fuck. What? I can't, you know what? That is so crybaby-like when you're playing the absolute top tier 1 deck on the face of the earth. Like, come on. And they're saying Magic the Gathering is boring. Yes, you're playing the top 35% deck, tier 0, what arguably the best deck of all time. Yeah, Magic is boring. When I win, it's exciting. When you win, it's boring. That's how it works around here. But this is, you know what's exciting? This worked. This worked. If we didn't have Unable to Scream for like that Guide of Souls and this Ragavan, probably we were cooked. We were cooked, chat. No, this card, it slaps. Unable to Scream. Vial-less Merfolk. We beat energy. That's all I need to see. And we had all the tools. It all worked out. Maybe I shouldn't have sided out that Tide Shaper. Maybe that was a mistake. Because that Tide Shaper helped us win both the only games that we won. Okay, anyway, that was round 3. Let's move on to round 4. We won the die roll. We're up against a Kihira deck, which not really what you want to see when you have an Unable to Scream in your hand. It means they're on control. I'm going to keep it, though. It's like having a 6-card hand on the play, which I think even versus control, this hand is very strong. Or it's decent. We have Cavern of Souls to blank the counter spells. Lower it into Sphaloon. I guess we're gonna start off an island and pass. I guess there's an off chance that they're playing elementals. It's possible. Ooh, maybe they are. I have a feeling Unable to Scream is still going to be poor in this matchup. Or maybe they're playing cats? We'll find out in a second. Unable to Scream. I mean, removal spells suck against any deck that has, what's it called? ETBs. Removal has never been good versus ETBs. Reflecting Pool. Oh, it is elemental. We're gonna get elementaled out of the world. Okay, this is gonna be a terrible matchup. Just an absolute terrible matchup. Well, that might be some good news. Voice Resurgence. I have no reason to attack into this now. I'm just wondering, should I like fake attack here? It's like a bad bluff. If I have Hexcatcher, it's bad for them. I'm so behind here. If I don't attack... So, if I knew... I don't know how good my opponent is, but if I knew my opponent is very good, I'd probably go for an attack here, representing Hexcatcher, making this block not valuable. But my opponent would be a lot... There is a good chunk of people that are like, that's a 2/2 creature. I got a 2/2, but I'm gonna have something left over, and that means I'm ahead. So I better not go for that line. We'll just play Svedlund and pass. It's just it's too risky. It would be a bad semi-bluff. Sometimes when you semi-bluff, I mean, it's not the worst semi-bluff. It still gets the voice off the board. Ooh, Birthing Ritual. That could be a problem. Yeah, Unable to Scream looking pretty bad versus that card too. At the beginning of your end step, go search up something. And you still get the token left over. Oh, you can find Solitudes and stuff. Oh, we're gonna just get crushed. We're just gonna get crushed. This looks terrible. No matter what version of Merfolk I would play here, this looks pretty terrible. Oh, you got Voice Resurgence, found a Voice of Resurgence. And now we got a Solitude. Oh, that's another thing. Like, if I went for that semi-bluff, they could have easily just blocked knowing they had Solitude up their sleeve as a worst-case scenario. Well, the Shana's Tidebinder is pretty decent. It's not bad. I can shut off the voice. Quiet you. Actually, this is not that decent. We're just gonna have to make do. I can shut off the Birthing Ritual for a turn. Too bad you don't have to sacrifice first. You can look, then sacrifice. Like, they tried to make this good. Well, that's not good news. So, you search for something on top of your library. Well, okay, well, looks like... Okay, what would they get? Because I could make them draw it, effectively. So they go get something. They get an elemental. This card gets an elemental, and you put it on top of your deck. Then you can go get it immediately with Birthing Ritual. But my plan is to counter the Birthing Ritual. Then they're going to draw that elemental. What could they get? But the problem is that when they draw the elemental, that might just be as good. And how much mana value? X plus 1. So right now they can only get 3 drops. They're choked on mana, right? Ooh, so if they put a 3-drop on top, maybe I'm going to let them do that. We're going to make them draw their 3-drop, because they've missed their land drops. So they're going to draw the 3-drop, and they're going to be mana screwed. Hilarious. What a devious plan by me. I'm a genius. Where are they going to get, though? Hopefully they don't get a 1-drop or a 2-drop. I wonder, is Consigned to Memory good here? I gotta think of all the places I can use Consigned to Memory. That's like a hard counter against this thing. Feels Mass Vandal. Ooh, damn! You can cast that card no matter what. You may exile a creature if you do. Exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. I don't have any. Why would you go get that? It's so bizarre. So you're going to draw that thing. Oh, you want to hit the Unable to Scream. Oh, I got many Unable to Screams, though. Sphaloon. Ugh, I sort of want to sink into Stupor or something. Like the Mass Vandal that they're about to draw. There's quite a few things to do here. But I can't do it all at once. In fact, I can hardly do anything. I can attack for 4. I can play the Sphaloon. Unable to Scream this. How does Mass Vandal work? It's, enters, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard, which there are many. Yeah, that works. This is add 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. Well, I mean, if they exile Unable to Scream, it's not the end of the world. I'm just trying to see, like, what's the most mana efficient thing I can do. It seems to be, like, Sphaloon and Unable to Scream, and then hold up Sync next turn. Alternatively, like, the thing is, if I don't do anything this turn, they still get the Birthing Ritual off. Which is a problem. We need to find an Island Walker pronto. Do I put 2 Unable to Screams on this then? Or just one an Unable to Scream on this Elemental? So they play Mass Vandal, get rid of Unable to Scream. Voice is free. If we kill Voice, they're going to get another Elemental anyway. Do I hold it? No, I got to use this. And let's use it on maybe the Voice. As weird as that sounds. Yeah, that sounds crazy. But I'm going to do it. The reason being, if they play Mass Vandal, get rid of Unable to Scream, they can sack their Voice to Birthing Ritual and get an Elemental anyway. Thunderkin Awakener. This brings... Uh-oh. 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 When it attacks, choose target creature card in your graveyard with toughness less than Thunderkin's tough. Oh, it has to be less. Okay, good. I thought they could go get their Solitude immediately. Okay, they sack the Voice. Get the Risen Wraith. This is where things can get bad real fast. Okay, we need a Harbinger of the Seas badly. Another Solitude. Exiling Omnath. Yeah, this is just terrible. This has never been a good matchup, ever. The problem is all the ETBs. And of course, this is just a lot of value. Oh, wow. Very well timed, Subtlety. Yeah, this is exactly when I need you. I guess we'll just pass. Maybe we can Subtlety, and even if we Subtlety something, they just put it back on top of their deck and then Birthing Ritual it into play. So we were doing okay for a little while because they were mana screwed. But now reality has sunken in. Risen Reef is a lot of value. Yeah, they did put it back on top. Because it's coming back. They can sack their Thunderkin Awakener. And they are. Get the Risen Reef. Okay, still. If we draw some sort of Island Walk enabler, maybe we still have a chance. Right now we can't attack into anything. Stupid Elemental. Stupid little Elemental. This thing can attack for 3. No. It's gotta go up for 3 in the air. And pass. Cavern of Souls on Elemental. Shriekmaw. This just gets worse and worse. I hope this... Well, actually, I don't know. I was about to say, I hope this deck is good against Boros Energy. And they're evoking this. You have more black mana here. Do you have an island? It says I have Island Walk, but I guess it says that no matter what. And the problem is every elemental that enters play. So Risen Reef really is actually the most dangerous card because it just grinds through the entire deck. Putting lands in play or putting land... I mean, it's like, it's basically Nadu. You know, whenever an elemental comes into play, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you can put it on the battlefield. If otherwise, you put it in your hand. I mean, it's literally the Nadu combo in one card. Nadu and Shuko. That's how you can look at Risen Reef. Okay, going to get Kahira, which is going to be a pain for me. I'm not sure what makes this deck so bad. It is a jank deck. It had a little something going for it before. Maybe Harbinger of the Seas hits this deck super hard. Like, you do have some answers like Solitude, but if you don't have those answers, then you're just screwed. It's like Solitude or Bust. So maybe the mana base is more vulnerable. Because this type, maybe not exactly this build, but there were very similar decks in the past that were played to some moderate success when Omnath was like a really big archetype. To be honest, like, this game is completely different if we have an Island Walk enabler. Like, we have a lot of power in play. We have a lot of power. Our opponent's putting like no pressure on us. We have 7 Island Walk enablers in the deck. Just can't find them. Huh, not actually an elemental. That is bad synergy. Is this... Can you get anything? Can this Thunderkin Awakener get? Another Thunderkin Awakener? So many lands on the deck. I guess we're lucky in that regard. So Thunderkin Awakener can go find Thunderkin Awakeners, which can find nothing else. Oh no, wait a minute. Less or equal to its toughness. So the toughness turned to 3. Does this resolve? Is it still legal when it resolves? Let's find out. I'm going to bounce the Kahira. Just want to see if this triggers. So you can target it, but let's see if it fizzles upon resolution. I'm just out of curiosity. Yeah, it does fizzle. And now we go in for the blocks! You attacked with everything. You're going to regret. I can block everything, actually. We just have to hope that there's no more solitudes in hand. There's already 2 solitudes here. From what? Oh, was that revealed? Uh-oh. Well, that can't be good. Yeah, please go to blocks. Yeah, there was a solitude revealed somewhere. They have Flicker Wisp. Just please put me out of my misery, please, quickly. Please. Please kill me. Okay, I'm just gonna let's concede to just get this game going, because I'm going to lose. I'm not coming back from this board state. Okay, Flare Denial will definitely be good because that hits. The way to beat these decks is make sure that the thing doesn't even come into play in the first place. Is Ghost Vacuum good? So they use Thunderkin Awakener. They have Mass Vandal. I don't think it's good. Hexcatcher shouldn't be good. Unable to Scream also probably isn't very good. Consigned to Memory. If my deck was more aggressive... No, this is great. Yeah, it counters Solitude. We can keep Dismember. I don't know about Unable to Scream. Bring in Dismember. What am I taking out? Force of Negation hits like only Birthing Ritual, which sucks. I think I'll get rid of the Dock Hand. We need to lean on quality. I guess we'll get rid of some Force of Negations. Just doesn't hit a lot. Doesn't hit enough. Arguably, maybe I shouldn't have so many Dismembers, because they still get ETBs. But it's probably still, like, it's fine. Like, hitting the Risen Reef is still going to be important. I do want to go first. Did we side in the last Harbinger of the Seas? Oh, I didn't. That was a mistake. I should bring in the last Harbinger of the Seas. Got too excited. This hand is not great, but it's not bad either. We'll just start with the Sink into Stupor. I want to keep the Glasspool Mimic because I need to copy stuff. Arguably, maybe I shouldn't even play Sink into... Well, no, I need a blue source for my Consigned to Memory at the very least, somewhere down the line. Okay, drew a Merfolk. Ta-da! Merfolk. This also is a pretty nice matchup for the Subtlety Tishana's Tidebinder combo if we get it off. Thunderkin Awakener? Sure. That does nothing. Yet. Ooh, Harbinger of the Seas. Do I want to wait on that? Not really. But they can still play Risen Reef, actually. I would really... My opponent says, your creatures smell fishy, to be honest. Elementals are cooler. They're not cooler. Look, they're hot. They're playing with lightning and fire. Merfolk are cooler. The depth. Cold-blooded. So if I go Harbinger of the Seas, I can protect versus one Solitude, but that's about it. Maybe that's enough. Actually, alternatively, I could go Master the Pearl Trident, Harbinger of the Seas next turn, play the Glasspool Mimic, untap because it's now like just an island, and that would hold up Consigned to Memory. Okay, that works. I forgot about that. Okay, let's attack for 2. Or sorry, 3. Elemental. Okay, that's going to resolve. It's going to trigger. What you get? A land, which is great for my Harbinger of the Seas. To poop on! Let's get a blue card. Blue card would be nice because then we would have Consigned to Memory and Subtlety backup. That's good. That works for me. Okay, now we'll play our Harbinger for Island Walk. Play Sink. Untapped. Get in for 6. And theoretically attack for lethal next turn. Power of Consigned to Memory. That'd be a 2-for-1. It's a 2-for-1 Tuesday. Okay, you can Risen Reef again. Find land. Most of the elementals are uncastable at this point, so it's not a big deal. Endurance. Oh, to find more cards. I'm gonna attack you for 10. No, okay, I'll just let it resolve. They spent 2 cards to get another 2 cards. Technically. And the cards that they draw are not likely to be useful. Oh, the Lord. That should do it. Even if I didn't draw the Lord. Well, no, there's no telling. I'd really want to play the Glasspool Mimic, though. Because I might want to hold Subtlety up for Solitude. Yeah, we won that game. That's nice. Thanks to Harbinger of the Seas. So we're going to bring in that Harbinger of the Seas. Shouldn't forget that one. Anything? Okay, so what do I want to take out? Probably... maybe a Surveillance. Surveillance not that important. Or maybe a Dismember. Dismember's not that important either. Because everything has ETBs. Like, the most important thing to kill is Risen Reef. Like, you saw what they did. Risen Reef is completely unhinged. If it's not... sorry, if you don't deal with a Risen Reef, it can just... the card advantage just spirals out of control. And this hand is too empty for my liking. This hand is also pretty empty. I think I'm gonna... do I keep it? Does mulliganing down to a Harbinger of the Seas give me a better chance than keeping this random hand? Because I still curve out. I have a Flare of Denial and a Force of Negation. Well, Force of Negation doesn't even do all that much. Unless my opponent has Birthing Ritual, then it does a lot. Did my opponent mulligan? They also mulliganed. It's like, it's not a terrible hand, but it's not a good hand versus them. Okay, this hand's good. We'll keep this. We'll get rid of Dismember. And Force. Just go Land, Lord, Harbinger. Hopefully that's good enough. Fortunately, they don't have a whole lot of things to do on turn 1. Except that one. So are they going to go get Solitude? Or maybe Voice? Or Risen Reef, really. Risen Reef is probably one of their top picks. Yeah, they got Risen Reef. Yeah, we got a Lord. So all we need to draw one more land, and we need them to not have Solitude, and probably we can win from there. Simple as that. Ugh, no. I got rid of my Force of Negation. Well, we did get our land. But now that doesn't matter, because they're just going to slowly work their way up to Solitude anyway. Damn, so close. And they're going to be drawing, like, what, 3 cards a turn now? They draw a card for the turn. They'll Birthing Ritual into an Elemental. Well, if they sack the Voice, then they're far away from getting Solitude. Sack Voice to find another Voice. That's fine. Ooh, that's an Elemental too. Look at that. They drew 2 cards. So what did you get? A Risen Reef? Okay, let's slow the cards down. We do have, fortunately, a lot of power. So we can attack back for... I mean, we have a turn 3 kill. Sorry, we're not turn 3. We have a kill in 3 turns. We can attack for a lot next turn, and then ultimately have lethal by the following turn. They are also pretty far from Birthing Ritualing a Solitude in play. This sort of means you have Solitude. So if I don't know what else this can mean here. I'm assuming if I block... I mean, they might have some sort of sideboard card, like destroy target blocking or attacking creature. But if that's true, then I'm going to lose this Harbinger anyway. Just rather there was elementals on the battlefield. Or maybe that's what they wanted to happen. Maybe they want elementals on the battlefield to trigger the Risen Reef. But I have to respect my life total as well. Okay, they had the Solitude all the time. That's okay. We can concede. I'm not winning this. Not from this board. It's a pretty miserable matchup. I mean, maybe it's not as bad as it used to be. Harbinger of the Seas like is a pretty big game changer, and between this and like Solitude is very backbreaking. But if you deal with one of them, then maybe you can squeeze out wins. So Harbinger of the Seas probably like gives us a lot of percentage points, but it's still a matchup I don't want to see at all. Okay, that was round 4. Let's move on to round 5. We won the die roll. I think our hand is very strong. I'm going to keep it. It's a nice curve. 1 drop, maybe a 2 drop. Maybe a 3 drop. Glasspool Mimic makes the hand a little clunky, but overall I'm pretty satisfied with how this hand looks. And depending on the situation, what our opponent does on turn 1, we might actually tap their lands. Tap the lands down. Oh, Burrow. Ooh, it's Mill. And they have Oboro. Okay, now what are we doing? Ooh, that was a good draw. I guess we'll play Unable to Scream. No screaming around here. And then Glasspool Mimic? So I can play Sveilun next turn? Is that the line? Or I play Mutavault, tap your land down, and then play Tideshaper, tap land down again? I really don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. Okay, I'm just... Do you know what? Okay, let's try to... Let's play really patiently. I'll play Tideshaper next turn with the intention of... And yeah, well, the main idea is let's lock our opponent's mana down enough that we're going to get Sveilun to resolve, but also there'll be 3 creatures in play so that Fatal Push cannot kill the Sveilun. I drew another land, which is fine. Just play Tideshaper for nothing. Glasspool Mimic. Ooh, too bad we didn't have a land here. Then the fetch would get popped. I mean an untapped land. Okay, they're going to get probably a black source, which we can tap. They put a Field of Ruin. Ooh, that's pretty... Field of Ruin is usually pretty strong in this deck. So pretty surprised by that line. Fatal Push is going to go after the dock hand. I guess it's sort of annoying. Pretty annoying, huh? Mill player. And if they're thinking long about this, it's probably because it's the only Fatal Push, maybe the only removal spell in their hand, and that they're like more dead to, what's it called, things like Lord of Atlantis. But they're like, this is also really annoying. It's slowing me down by a lot. And if I think it's valuable, then maybe it's valuable enough to get rid of. Aw, they can get rid of my Mutavault now. We drew a land, which is not bad. Swing in for 2. Actually, I have a few lines here. I mean, I could Tide Shaper the Field of Ruin, Tide Shaper the Undercity Sewers. But I think the most realistic thing to do is just slam Svelun and Tide Shaper and then pass. And then start attacking for quite a bit. So we're going to cycle. Fill up the graveyard. And this Tishana's Tidebinder does have a lot of utility in this matchup for like Field of Ruin, well, which is not useful now. But also Jace. So I can hit the cycling thing. Archive Trap, that's fine. As long as you don't have too many of them. The match usually comes down to how many Hedron crabs there are that get to resolve, and only one got to resolve and it's doing nothing. So that's a huge bonus for me. Here, I'll help you out. I'm going to remove cards from my deck. I'm a good guy here. Okay, Merfolk. And our Svelun is basically indestructible at this point. Visions of Beyond. How many cards are in my graveyard? I mean, I can't do anything about this. They drew 3, which means my graveyard had exactly 20. Exactly 20. Unbelievable. Hedron Crab. I think I'm going to let this resolve. Or should I let it resolve? They'll probably have a fetch land in hand. But if I go Subtlety, they'll go... No, yeah, I can go Subtlety, I guess. If they counter this, which they can, then they won't have a whole lot of mana to do anything else with their turn. Our deck has a lot of 3-drops and 4-drops, so Tasha's Hideous Laughter is pretty weak versus us. Another Visions of Beyond. Oh, what's my power? I have 6, 10. Short of lethal. Are you mana screwed or something? Okay, here's another Hedron Crab. Fetch. I'm assuming fetch. Oh no, just land. Regular land. Mill for 3. Yep. Ooh, another crab. Okay, the crabs come out. Lord of Atlantis is lethal. Not Lord of Atlantis. I will continue to help you. Next turn's going to be a big turn, though. Harbinger of the Seas. That's actually a pretty good draw. Because it shuts off black sources, and it shuts off fetch lands. And after I play this uncounterably, I can play the Glasspool Mimic untapped, and I'll even have Tishana's Tidebinder up for one of the crabs. So, there's 25 cards left in our deck. Looks pretty good. Situation looks pretty good. So actually, should I hold on? If they play one land, I go to 6. Is that even a big deal? Maybe I have. What's Jace, the Perfected Mind, do? Surgical Force and Negation. Yeah, go for it. You know exactly what's in my hand. Yeah, I think they're trying to set up a Jace. I mean, they could be setting up anything. Okay, this is... Target player mills 3 times X cards. 3 times X cards is... It has 5 loyalty, so that's 15. These triggers will put me down to 17. Okay, they just conceded. I was thinking. They're like, okay, I have no chance of winning no matter what I do. I think they had Jace. But I'm not sure. They also looked at my deck. They got Intel. This is consigned to memory. I gotta like this is the first time I've ever played with consigned to memory. I just gotta look to see if this does anything versus every deck. It can interact with stuff. Ghost Vacuum's very interesting. This can keep my graveyard empty. Or it can keep it low to make what's it called? A few cards weaker. The Drown in the Lock, and also Visions of Beyond. Okay, Harbinger of the Seas is good. Any counter spells are good. Vidalian Hexcatcher. See, that's why Vidalian Hexcatcher's in the sideboard. This is the first time we're actually siding it in. Unable to Scream is actually fine. But what's more important? My life total doesn't matter. So maybe we'll have... I should have... Well, these are still 6 effects. Maybe we'll stick to 6 here. I have 67 cards in. I gotta take out a bunch of cards. Subtlety is not that important. I like Svelune. Dockhand's okay. Tishana's Tiebinder is okay, not necessary. Guess I'm taking out Dockhands. Take out one Tishana's Tidebinder. Oh, wait a minute. This is mill. You know what that means? We go to 64 cards. Okay, let's keep a Dockhand. I don't know if this is necessary. It doesn't eat up a lot of cards in my graveyard. So do you know what? I'm just going to ignore it. This is a good matchup. Okay, we'll bring in the Dockhands back. We'll bring it to Tishana's Tidebinder. We'll go to 64 cards. This should be okay. Should be okay. Unable to Scream. Maybe I'm supposed to bring in more Unable to Screams. It all comes down to the crabs, honestly. It's crabs or bust. This hand is a 1-lander on the draw, and I have a lot of things to do with 1 land. I don't want to. I just don't want to. Another 1-lander on the draw. This is really strong, though. And I have Force of Negation. I'm going to keep this. I'll just get rid of the Tishana's Tidebinder, which is the most expensive card in the hand. Like, Dockhand into Hexcatcher into Master of the Pearl Trident could just be a winning strategy by itself. Also, interesting with the Dockhand, if I don't draw my land, I can still use it to slow my opponent down while I wait to catch up. You're afraid of that Dockhand, are you? It just terrified you in game 1. It terrorized you. You don't forget. Dockhand, never forget. Glimpse the unthinkable. Damn, you got a Swamp. This is not the most devastating of cards, but still pretty good. Okay, I'm going to let it resolve. We're at 11 cards in our graveyard. Land, please. Oh, that's not a land. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I have 24 lands in my deck. Come on, 24 lands. Yeah, come Field of Ruin my island. I dare you. I double dare you. Land? Nope. Well, we have a bunch of Force Negations. That's good. So I can't wait to fire it off on the very... Oh, look, I think they're mana screwed too. Oh, they don't want to do anything. Oh, give me a land here. Land, don't make me discard. Oh, you're going to make me discard a hand size. I guess I'll discard the Tishana's Tidebinder. Because if they play a crab, I can play unable to Scream. And then if I don't need this Unable to Scream, then I can always pitch it to Force Negation. But we see a crab, so I'll have something to do next turn no matter what. They mill me for 6. In theory. Well, their hand sucks. Oh, now I get the land. Well, I don't want it right now. I'm going to wait. This is worth too much value. You could also counter this. I suppose. But they don't. Well, now what? Do I play my... Do you know what? I can play my Cavern. And if they want to destroy it with Field of Ruin, then I can float a mana, get the land, tap in and play our Hexcatcher. So that actually works out. Yes, help me curve out. Please help me. Help me curve out. You're helping me, opponent. That was all part of my plan. Yeah, Archive trap me. Again? Okay, I have 10 cards left. You have one more? Nope. Honestly, 10 cards is not a lot of cards. Fatal Push. Oh, okay. Well, you're top decking. I'm also... Well, I'm not top decking, really. I got a handful of gas. 2 lords is all I need. Now, here come the lords, one at a time. Unfortunately, I can't counter this. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna go to 6. So I'm gonna go to 3. Can I win in time? Of all the things my force... Man, I really wish I burned that first force negation on that glimpse. The thing is, like... Okay, hold on, I'm gonna draw 1. So I need my opponent to draw mill cards. I can win, but they can't draw any more lands. Basically. No, I don't have time for this Dismember. There's no time for Dismember. We gotta go face. I draw. Okay, next turn I draw a card. I attack for 8. Yeah, I can win. They have to draw... Oh, they drew a land. That didn't work out. Damn, close. Yeah, I need to, like... If I had one more card in my deck, I could Dismember the crab. But, anyway, I couldn't afford to. The game mostly came down to the fact that we didn't draw our second land for a very, very long time. Otherwise, I think we were in a really good spot. Hand looks great. Keep. Hand is premium. Harbinger of the Seas, it sort of doesn't look like it should be good in this matchup. It's just an absolute banger. So I will definitely Unable to Scream this, and we'll play a Dock hand. And now we can play Harbinger of the Seas with Flare of Denial backup. Another crab. Oops, I probably should flare that. Probably. Okay, I will flare that one. That's definitely one way I can just lose. Just get eaten up by these stupid crabs. Merfolk. Harbinger. Yeah, that's right. Can't double me there. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Got 10 cards. Yeah, I got a chunky deck. Look at all these chunky cards. We got a lot of... My lands have mana costs. That's the cool thing about them. I think every point of damage matters here, so I'm going to play the Hexcatcher. I don't think there's anything I'm going to counter next turn with this Flare of Denial. Just let my opponent play whatever they want. Probably need like one more card though. Like, I mean, by card I mean we need one more creature. That's okay. And here come the chump blocks. See, look at all the value Harbinger of the Seas is locking down here. Mill 14 cards? Sure. Go to 17. Still have our Flare. We do have to be careful. I mean, they've got Mystical Disputes. But now our clock is starting to get turned on here. Now we can, like, double counter if we need. Now we can triple counter if we need. Wow, it didn't even block the Hex Catcher. I'll start countering things now. It's going to draw 3 cards. A good chunk of them are dead, though. You know, I don't feel like letting that resolve, to be honest. I just don't feel like it. It looks like this game's over. They got a chump block, Sphaloon. We'll get in for 4. We draw another counterspell. So this game is super, super, super over. Super, super, duper, ooper, over. It's more over than I've ever seen in my life. All right, we won. That was a good matchup. I'll tell you, the one thing, though, that was super important. So we went 3-2. And in my opinion, that was a strong 3-2. I guess you guys didn't see the Affinity matchup, but I ran so bad. And I was definitely in a really good spot to win that one. So the only matchup we lost was the Elemental deck, which is fine. Like, that's not a deck in the metagame. That's not something we're prepared for. That's not something we should expect at all to run into, and that's okay. You can lose those games. That's totally fine. Even if you're in a big open event and you get randomly paired up against the Elemental deck, that's fine. Just lose to it. What was important is that we beat Energy, and it felt relatively good. Unable to Scream helped us a lot, and so long as I can help push this deck a little bit more and further in a direction to give us more game versus Energy, I think that is going to be hopefully to even the odds for like a few more weeks until we see what happens. To be honest, we still are going to have to be prepared for Energy, in my opinion. I'm doubtful that Energy is going to be banned out of the metagame. It's just 30% of the metagame. Unless they ban all the Energy cards, which they're probably not going to do. They're just going to weaken it. We're still going to have to see some Energy for the foreseeable future. Yeah, so, which is not a really good timeline for Merfolk to be in. We're not very good versus aggro decks ever in the history of Magic the Gathering, and that's a very powerful high-value aggro deck. But hopefully this Vial-less list is going to just be competitive. Just be competitive. It's the antidote. When I was playtesting for my very first Modern Horizons 3 tournament, I found that Vial-less made the matchups feel the most even versus Energy. And now that we have Unable to Scream, there's even more reason to go that direction, because on the draw you can go turn 1 Unable to Scream to slow them down and not take too much damage. Hope you like the list. I'm not certain about Ghost Vacuum. Frankly, I think it's poop. Not really impressed with this card. Probably I would prefer to have Stern Scolding or Spell Snare or something like that alternatively in the sideboard. Hope you like it, everyone. All right, take care, my fish fam. I'll see you next time.